Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is another episode of the Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast. A little bit more sensual, private crowd for this week's episode. You got myself, Clayton. There's Eddie. We them boys that's going to bring home this past week of wrestling for you. But before we dive into all the excitement, Eddie, where can these people hear us at?
Make sure to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and Podbean. And also, make sure to tune in and keep up for updates on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
The tickiest of the talks.
I've never done it in that order before.
Yeah, that was different. I was primed and waiting to say beans, but then it never came.
Podbean?
It just never came.
It's not there.
It's too late now.
It's too far.
Moving on. King and Queen of the Ring. That seems to be our theme for the next, actually for all the month of May, given that every week is a different round of qualifying for the tournament for the men's and women's side. But before we get into, the individual match details from this past week of Raw and SmackDown, overarching macro, how'd you feel?
I liked everything. I mean, honestly, the bracket looks really good on both sides. I thought we saw Jade hit a lovely Jaded on Piper Niven. I thought that was good.
Big, meaty women slapping meat.
Exactly. And then we have Ilya Dragunov and Ricochet put on a banger of a matchup. Great way to introduce him. Lyra and Dakota was pretty stale of a match. That's just my take. I don't think Lyra is going to transition too well. But again, that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought other people wouldn't be able to transition too well, and they did fucking great. So hopefully it does good. Just a stale finish. Didn't look like the best finisher in the world to Dakota Kai.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, everything else has been pretty good. I've liked everything so far. I think putting Jey Uso in that tournament, great move.
Well, he is the main event.
He is the main event, but he's probably not going to win against the Czar.
We'll get to that when we get there, bud.
I know. I love me my Czar. I told you. Banger. He's going to put on bangers. What did Randy say? He's going to be another Pete Dunne? Wrong.
Well, Randy has made it his life's mission to be wrong about a lot of things wrestling related, and that's okay, because here on the Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast, we support him and everybody living their truth. For me, I just enjoyed the fact that we got like a solid 4.5, almost 5 hours of wrestling this week.
Yes.
I was worried from before the start of Raw, when it was starting to leak out, this is going to be the most heavily advertised Raw in the history of WWE. But if I got to deal with some pictures commercials while getting, with the exception of 2 matches from both the men's and the women's side, everybody got at least 6 minutes of ring time to do something with. Obviously, our main events, which are hands down PLE quality matches on TV for free. Every match they utilized everybody's skill set, ring work, made everybody look good.
They did fantastic. No, I thought with everything, one, a little off topic, do you think Drew's ever going to catch Punk?
Yes.
When? When do you think he's going to get the little guy?
Probably Clash. Because Punk said, even if I have to go to Scotland, I'm going to get you. I think Punk's cleared now. I think it's actually been cleared for a little bit. But now, of course, Drew has a fractured elbow. That's probably going to take until Clash to heal. But yeah, they'll have their first of 3 matches at Clash, and that's what I feel in my tum-tum.
Okay. Well, I want to see them fight. I want CM Punk to prove me wrong, because I think here's my theory, and I don't wish this upon everybody, regardless of what I think about you, which my opinion has gotten better because Tony Khan has literally proven me wrong. Didn't think he'd be the guy to prove me wrong, but he did. I mean, it is Jack Perry's fault, all that crap, but I feel like CM Punk is in the state of his career where he's going to try to do stuff he used to do back in his prime. And with that is going, his body just is not meant to take that type of punishment any longer. So I feel like it is going to be injury after injury at this point. Like the Royal Rumble, I guess that's something where it's a little hit or miss, but he was still rehabbing his injury. Now he's fully healed. Hopefully don't have anything else going on. But Drew is not a light worker in the slightest. Drew's going to give it to him when Punk probably wants him to give it to him, but
he's going to concuss Punk with the Claymore.
Yes, very much. And I think that will actually happen. He will get injured again. So maybe not the best guy to put him in his first matchup. It was supposed to be Cody, but that Cody cutter can sometimes, it looks like that can hurt some people too.
I mean, his, I keep wanting to say triceratops for some reason, but his triceps injury could absolutely have happened on a Cody cutter.
Yes.
Man, you know, just like in sports, real sports, as the body gets older, it's prone to more injuries. It's prone to the same type of injuries. But I think Punk over the next 5 years will hold up, and then he'll go away again.
I think that's about it. I hope he goes out on good terms for once. It seems like everywhere he leaves, it's never on good terms.
I think him and Triple H have a much better working relationship. A lot of Punk's well-documented frustration came from Vince, and Vince trying to be something that Punk didn't need him to be more than, which was his boss. And then Vince McMahon's historic lifelong pettiness with the different things that happened to Punk on his way out the door. Yeah, he should have handled the AEW situation better, but
I mean, you're also looking at when Cody left. Bad terms. Cody also did not have his own freaking name when he had left. And Vince also, I guess, was that a trademark? Did they trademark Cody Rhodes' name in WWE and they're like, nope, we're not giving it up?
I don't believe so. No.
I thought it was something like that.
You can't trademark someone's stage name if it's their actual name.
It's not his actual name.
No, I don't think that they did though. Still.
Okay, I thought it was something like that because he was Cody for the longest time. So,
on the spot, look it up.
I thought he was Cody for the longest time because of that, but now good relationship. Vince was still in a little bit of control,
What
not
do you
as
mean
much.
That's not his real name.
Cody Rhodes? I thought it was Cody Runnels.
Cody Garrett Rhodes.
So it is Rhodes? Am I being weird? Chat, am I being weird? Now I need to look this up. What the fuck?
Look at you spawning lookups in the moment. Well, I'm gonna let you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
While I grab our matches for the first round of the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. So on Raw, we got, announced was Gunther versus Sheamus, which was the main event. Ricochet versus Ilya. It was supposed to be Xavier Woods versus Rey Mysterio, but Xavier Woods, one of 4 people not medically cleared to compete this week. Xavier was replaced by Kofi, and it's Kofi versus Rey, and that got moved to a live event that's happening this week. Probably today, in all honesty, when the time of this recording, which was one of 4 overall first round matches got moved to a live event. What is today? Today is the 11th. Yeah, today and tomorrow. So we had Jey Uso. Sorry. It was originally supposed to be Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor, but Drew with this fractured elbow also not physically cleared to compete. So we got Jey versus Finn, which Jey won. We had Ilya versus Ricochet, which Ilya won. And then Gunther beat Sheamus in the hard hitting.
See, he chopped him in the back and how... Oof. That's freaking disgusting the way he did that.
Hard hitting main event. Great use of 20 minutes. So for the men's side, coming out of Raw, we are getting Ilya versus Jey Uso next week.
Banner.
Then Gunther will face the winner of Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio. So I suppose the real question is, are we getting Gunther Ilya for the Raw finale?
I would think so.
I think so too. I think Jay's gonna look great. To be perfectly honest, I'm okay if Ilya loses.
I think that's fine for him to lose in that match. I mean, he did just get called up.
Either guy could take a loss here, and it'd be fine. But Ilya versus Gunther looks, sounds, walks, talks so much better than Jay versus Gunther.
I agree.
And that's without factoring in the prior history of Ilya and Walter.
And, going into a match like that where... And sorry, who's Gunther competing with in the next match? Is it between
the
Rey
winner
and Kofi?
of Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio? So a second round bye.
So, yeah, Gunther's winning that. There's no question. I think while Jay and Gunther sounds great, it doesn't sound like a bad match. You want to give a live audience something as impactful as a Gunther and an Ilya Dragunov, and they've never done it on the main roster. They've done it on a takeover, and they've done an NXT UK match in front of no people. Mm-hmm. That match was 5 stars in front of no people. Their match at takeover, also 5 stars with a lot of people. Now you're basically tripling the amount of people they did it for at takeover, putting in Saudi Arabia. I think they have to put on that match. I think it's worth it. And that would be in Saudi Arabia, right? The Raw final? Or would that be... Oh, they don't even get that? Well, shoot.
No. So Gunther and Ilya would be facing off in the semifinals.
Dang.
So
well,
you'll have your final 4, which is the last 2 guys standing from Raw and the last 2 guys standing from SmackDown. They will face each other respectively, and then the winner of those matches will have a match at the actual PLE in Jeddah.
And what's the SmackDown side of the tournament?
Right now, one of these 4 is coming out of the SmackDown side. Randy, Carmelo, Tama, and then either LA Knight or Santos Escobar.
So LA Knight. I would think.
I think, and we'll break this down a little bit further when we get into SmackDown. I got LA and Randy in the semifinals, but honestly, I want to see Carmelo versus Tama, even though I don't think either of them should face the winner of Gunther and Ilya at the actual PLE.
What if the biggest swerve of all time happened and they give us Ilya and Carmelo?
That could cook.
That could very much
that could cook.
Because Carmelo is very over right now, and as good as he has been...
He's over. He's on the main roster now.
Yeah.
There's levels to over. He's over. I wouldn't say he's very over.
No. But him beating Randy, possible. Him beating LA Knight, again, possible.
Mm-hmm.
Tama, I was honestly surprised. Well, it was against Angelo Dawkins, so I wasn't really surprised. But, I'm surprised they're pushing him as heavily. I thought he'd be more of an enforcer role.
That's exactly what he is.
And I didn't think he'd get that exposure.
He's not solo.
No, he's
as
not
an
solo.
enforcer. So if you're not solo as an enforcer, the only other alternative is you actually win stuff.
He's actually good on the mic too. Another thing, we haven't really seen him too much on the mic though. So
Okay. Then for the women's side, coming out of Raw, we had Ivy Nile versus Zoe Stark. Ho hum, fine enough match. Just new faces, and I'm actually glad they're utilizing Zoe. She can't get over if she's not used.
Very much.
Her knocking Trish out after Trish lost a steel cage match to Becky just
fell flat.
It's not so much that it fell flat; they just didn't capitalize on it. They didn't do anything with that.
They partnered her with Shayna,
which works, but it took 2 months to get out of a gestation period with
right.
that, where Zoe just was kind of around. And then we had Lyra, what was originally Lyra Valkyrie versus Asuka, but Asuka also has a legit injury, so Asuka was replaced by Dakota Kai. I like the match for what it was.
Right.
I did not like the vehicle we used to get there, which
Correct.
was obnoxious. It really felt obnoxiously long promo for Becky about absolute nonsense, just to put Becky and Lyra in the ring together again. Since, if I'm not mistaken, Lyra's beaten Becky.
Yes. For the NXT title.
It's just a car crash over promo, because Liv comes out to talk to Becky and basically set up their title match at the PLE. Then Damage Control comes out, minus Asuka, because Asuka's hurt, so she's not even on the show. And then it's about to be 3-on-2. Then Liv rolls out the ring. Then it's 3-on-1. And then here comes Lyra. And then now we're having Lyra Dakota. Like, it's just
too much going on.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks. And I don't know, without a belt, how Dakota being Io's mouthpiece, in a manner of speaking, does not diminish Io in some way.
I think it does. I think it diminishes Io. Io, while yes, her English is not the best, which is why people want to have a mouthpiece on her. Her actions and body language do a fairly good job on screen.
Yes,
at least I've seen that work very well in the previously. Like, just let her do her thing. Mm-hmm. If you want her to be the mouthpiece for Kairi or Asuka, I don't even think Asuka needs a mouthpiece. Like, if you ever need a situation where she needs to be a mouthpiece for Kairi, sure, but let them all do their own thing. Like, I think everything else is moving fine. Like, keep them in a group, but let them talk for themselves.
Yes, something. I think what Io does know works.
Yes.
I'm just gonna be honest. Dakota saying, Damage Control is gonna take over Raw. I was like,
nope.
That's how you move from being an A faction to a B minus faction and decreasing. Because the end of that yellow brick road is, Rhea, when she comes back, she just smashes all of you.
Right. Exactly.
Or Charlotte pops up and just smashes all of you. Like, it's just...
They teased something a little bit over the past couple weeks, too, that I wanted to point out. Actually, it doesn't have to do with King of the Ring. Never mind. We can go. We can move forward from there.
And then the last match that was on TV for women's for Raw was Io versus Natalya. And for 10 minutes and 20 seconds... God damn it, Natalya could wrestle.
Uh-huh. That's why she's being put on NXT stuff. They gotta have her do something.
For a small pocket in time with somebody that's a little stiff in a good way, Natalya can wrestle. We still have a lot of work to do with hitting those ropes. But that match was sneakily better than I thought it was going to be.
Right. Something funny that I saw on social media, this was not just one person, this was several people, predicted every single match that King of the Ring tournament on the women's side were on.
Uh,
I don't know how. I don't know. Like, you thought Natalya was going to beat Io. And maybe in another world. Not in this world. Not the one I'm in.
maybe through the dark ages of like 2012 through
Right.
2016.
The only thing I could have seen Lyra or Asuka beating Lyra, but then when Asuka called, or that's what they were saying. It's like, oh, Asuka's going to win. Maybe you could have done that.
Yeah.
That's really the only one you could have done.
Yeah.
Like Ivy Nile, while strong, powerful, not going to beat Zoe Stark.
Yeah, it would have. Maybe if you were setting up like a fracturing or damage control, because here's the thing, Asuka and Io, because their whole faction's on Raw and they're on opposite sides of the Raw bracket,
Right.
somebody's gonna lose before brand finals.
Exactly.
Shayna Baszler and Zelina Vega got moved to this weekend's live events.
Shayna's going to fucking demolish Zelina Vega? Question mark.
I don't think so, actually. I think Zelina is going to get a win.
Really?
Shayna's just cool. Shayna's very comfortable with where she's at in terms of superstar hierarchy, and that's okay. I think Shayna loses less from losing to Zelina at a live event versus losing to Io on TV.
Right. Okay.
Zelina can take a loss on TV. That's just, that fits her character.
Yes.
For the persona that Shayna has in Truth and Television with it, because she is that fucking badass. I believe Shayna and Io can put on a fantastic 10 to 15 minute match. But Shayna has to lose to Io.
Right.
Similarly, because Zoe Stark's on the other side of the Raw bracket.
Yeah.
Like, women's Raw bracket kind of got, well, the women's bracket as a whole kind of got fucky wucky, but when we get into the SmackDown women's portion of it, it could set up something that we've been talking about for a couple weeks. So, moving on to SmackDown, starting with the men's bracket, we had a total of 3 matches on TV. We had Tama Tonga versus Angelo Dawkins, who was replacing an injured Bobby Lashley. Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes. And then the main event, which was AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. For me, similar to the Gunther Sheamus main event on Raw, AJ Styles and Randy tore the house down.
Yes.
I am really liking, as a part of the in-match formula for main roster talent that has wrestled the same talent in main events before, calling back on different things that happened in their matches.
Yes.
I know Randy and AJ have done this spot before, but AJ setting up for the phenomenal forearm and Randy about to RKO, and they both just, no. I like that. I like when wrestlers remember things that happened to them in matches with other wrestlers.
Yeah, the past exists.
Like, why don't you remember that this happened last time? Why are you jumping into this again? Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes was cool. But you could have put Baron against Tama and Angelo against Carmelo. Or shuffle it. Essentially, Baron Corbin, I don't think should have taken a loss in his first match.
No, I don't think so
Back
either.
on SmackDown. It's fine. He can roll with it. I just, like I said, I don't think that's,
got to give him something to work with. Like,
and then, I mean, Angelo versus Tama, that's bathroom break, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and it went exactly how you thought it was going to go. Angelo gets some offense, Solo Bloodline gets involved, Montez gets involved, Montez gets victimized, and then Angelo loses.
right.
I think Tama can't go any higher than SmackDown Finals.
I don't think so either. He'd have to lose.
But The other match that got moved to the live event this weekend, LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. I think we both agree LA's coming out of that.
Yes, very much.
I don't want Tama to lose, and I also don't want LA to lose.
Are Randy and Tama on the same side of the bracket?
No, Randy faces Carmelo next week.
So, what I feel like could happen is it's either Randy and Tama or LA and Carmelo. That's what I think will happen. It's one of those two pairings going to be in the finals. I feel like Randy, like maybe shenanigans happen with Tama or Randy's matches. Who knows? But I feel like there's going to be, like, there's no way Tama goes to the finals. Honestly, it's Carmelo or Randy, in my opinion. Whoever wins that matchup is going to the finals. I feel so bad for LA Knight, but I just can't see him getting there.
Man, could you... They'd never do it. They never do it. But...
How over his character would be if they put a King of the Ring.
Son, I'm not even getting that far. Give me Jay versus LA Knight.
I just want LA
King of the
Knight.
Ring.
I just want LA Knight to have it all. Why can't he? I know he's old. Older, not old. But, like, give him... We keep hearing about potential run with some title. Any title. Give him one. That's all he needs. Just one. He's over. I don't know if he's probably already hit his peak on how over he could be.
Yeah.
And
he can only, unfortunately, he can only go down
right
from here.
I think cutting off Roman Reigns going to the ring, like, that's how over you can be. Like, if you cut Roman Reigns off making his entrance.
I think that's one of the little things that pushes him over to the next level, because it was new. Like, we hadn't seen anybody do that before, and new is good when you're already over. But then the other little things like the reflective glasses, the camera, like the presentation with LA Knight has helped him significantly.
Yes.
All right, for the ladies' side of things from SmackDown, we had Naomi versus Nia Jax, Jade versus Piper, Bianca versus Candice LeRae, with Michin versus Tiffany Stratton moved to this weekend.
Tiffy's winning that one.
Tiffy's winning that one, and if she wins that one, she would go on to face Bianca. For the SmackDown women's side of things,
I think it'd be Jade and Bianca, wouldn't you think?
I think it's too early because they're the tag team champions.
Right.
I think it's too early for them to cross paths. And Jade can't lose right now.
No.
Jade's gonna be Queen of the Ring, probably going over Io, which can passively continue.
Right. That roster's so fucking stacked. That's what it seems like, man. You have Bianca and Tiffany Stratton. If you can't put Bianca against Jade, Tiffany has to win.
Yes.
Then you have Jade beat Tiffany.
Yes.
That's fucking crazy. Wrestling is as hit or miss, I feel like, in the winners and losers as it ever has been. It's actually a coin toss on what you can see in some ways because the roster is so stacked. Now, Jade's character, while yes, over, can't lose. I agree with that. It's like you're really going to have Tiffany Stratton take a loss with how over she is at the same time, which I understand. But
again, main roster levels.
Yes, very much.
All your NXT call-ups who were over, they are decidedly at the floor of being over on the main roster. And Jade is not on the floor of being over, but she is a level above where Tiffany is.
Right.
Nia Jax. Naomi in the Nia Jax match, Naomi looked good.
Yes.
for the time that they got. And, Nia Jax has actually improved as a wrestler. And I'm not just talking about not hurting people accidentally, but just selling in-ring work. Like, I like where she's at.
I think putting her on SmackDown's a lot better for her.
Yeah, she has to be on SmackDown because she's put on Raw. She has to win everything.
Yeah,
she's literally an awesome Kong with charisma. Like, if she's on Raw, she has to annihilate Raw, or we don't believe in her as a character.
Damn.
Everybody's small on Raw.
No, an awesome Kong with charisma.
Yes, for the flash in the pan. What was it? 3-4 months. That awesome, or whatever the hell her actual name was.
In WWE?
Karma.
Yeah, Karma.
The 3 months she was on the scene, she was wrecking everything.
Yes.
And
if she just didn't get pregnant.
Take Nia Jax, the character, the stature, all of it. And then you tell me between Zoe Stark, Ivy Nile, Lyra Valkyrie, Dakota Kai, or Asuka, Io, Natalya, Zelina, and Shayna, who she's not supposed to devour there.
She would have to win.
She'd have to win. And she'd have to win decisively against everybody except Io.
Right.
And even then, that...
in a perfect world, it'd be
David
Shayna.
and Goliath doesn't really work gender bent.
I think if you had Bianca as David, which...
Bianca as David against Nia Jax?
Being Goliath. Like, David would prevail. I want to see Nia Jax get KO'd. Do you think it can happen?
No.
She did the Piper.
There's I want to say this while being respectful to all parties. There is a difference between being a big body with water weight and being a big body because you actually have a thick physique. Like, Piper Niven and Nia Jax, from a weight perspective, are probably very similar.
Right.
But Nia has bigger bone structure, bigger density to her. Like, I can't break it down any other way than this. Like, Piper's fat, but Nia's fit fat.
Okay.
So, given that a KOD is I'm supporting you like this from your back.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt anybody.
Could Bianca lift her up to do it? Yes. Do I see it happening? No. Like, Nia's more likely to... Nia can take a Jaded, for example. Because
I don't know how that would work.
Well, Jaded, you still get the double underhook support.
Right.
So, that's just... I'm popping you up. Jade's not going to dislocate both her shoulders, so when she has a double underhook, she's actually holding them up.
And then, yeah.
That's why she got Piper up and then immediately slammed her down.
Right.
But yeah. So that kind of gets us set up. I think we're both feeling Jade for the...
Yes.
Jade coming out of SmackDown. Who are you feeling coming out of Raw Women's?
So we have Io,
Lyra, Zoe Stark,
and Shayna.
Shayna or Zelina. So,
oh, shit. Well, Jade's winning.
Io versus Jade in the final?
Io versus Jade in the final. Yeah, we'll say that. Well, Jade's fucking winning that one.
We're both feeling Gunther versus Ilya for the Raw final.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to have a Raw Kane SmackDown Queen. So I feel. I mean, Gunther.
Gunther over who? Randy, Mello, Tama, LA Knight.
It's whoever wins the Mello and Randy, and I am going to say... Shit, do you want to put Randy against Gunther, though?
I like what you said earlier.
Mello and Gunther?
Mello and Ilya.
Oh, Mello and Ilya? I like that one, but I don't know if Ilya... I think Gunther is at the point where you got the belt off of him. Now he's chasing the world title after he gets his King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I think you want to make him as overpowered as possible. Having that crown will make him as overpowered as possible. While, yes, I want Ilya and Melo, I think realistically we're going to get Gunther. And I'll say Melo. I'll say Gunther and Melo.
Okay. And then to kind of button up this week, we also got 3 different championship matches.
Yes.
Announced for the King and Queen of the Ring card in Jeddah. So we talked about it earlier briefly with Raw, but we get Becky versus Liv for the Women's World Championship.
I think it's Liv's time.
I don't think Liv is a good enough reason right now. And they already played during that awful promo.
That's what I wanted to say earlier, actually. They're playing Dami and Liv getting with it with each other. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen the stuff in the background, and the still photo she posted, there's a purple bandana just gently peeking out of her pocket. I don't think that pays off at Queen of the Ring, though.
No, I don't think that would. Well, what situation? Does she have to wait? Like, does she have to take another L and then...
Well, this is before you launch. This is what I was about to say. 'Cause during that promo, they already played the, you've never beaten me in a singles match card.
Okay.
And in my experience, when that's played, the very first match, the person who hasn't won yet still doesn't win.
Okay.
Now, I could, like, my gut says there's a not 0% chance that Dominic does something to cost Becky the title, because there was never really a payback for that punch.
Right.
Which in turn helps Liv win. Like, from a story perspective, I like that, but that's really the only way I can see Liv winning that match.
Okay.
Right now. You could run them back at, what would it be, Money in the Bank?
Right.
And Liv can go over there, or I'll tell you this much. Now that I vocalized Money in the Bank, Becky will not still be champion after Money in the Bank's over.
Okay. I would like Liv to win it. Like, you're given this revenge tour stuff. It would make more sense if it was Rhea.
To me, that's even more reason for Liv to lose, because it's not Rhea, because she's been so hyper focused on Rhea from a storyline perspective. You didn't give Becky her proper due.
Okay.
Because then Rhea can come back, beat Becky, or depending upon where her recovery's at, Rhea can come back, win Money in the Bank. Rhea could come back, win Money in the Bank, cash in on Liv, who just beat Becky for the title.
Jeez. This revenge tour would suck if that happened. Cancel your revenge tour, Liv.
Liv wins the title. Oh my God, I'm in
You're
Vince
goddamn
Russo mode.
diabolical.
Liv beats Becky. Or Liv loses to Becky. Go to Money in the Bank. Liz beats Becky clean. Rhea comes out after going into Money in the Bank, winning it, goes to cash in on Liv. Dominic costs Rhea.
And then there's a women's brawl for all. You said Vince Russo. I'm sorry.
I did invoke the Antichrists now.
I like that idea though. That is a great storytelling.
Like that you want to talk about layers? Yeah. Another championship another champion versus champion match, which is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. Now, what I am personally unsure of, if it's a winner take all.
That's what I was unsure of too, because
I was
rewatching
talking like it's a winner take all.
Nick Aldis was talking like it was a winner take all too.
Which we know Logan's not winning.
Right.
I don't know what Cody holding both the main card.
It doesn't do anything.
In the mid card belt does for anybody or anything. Like,
Oh, I mean, hold on.
I feel
that's
like there
something.
has to be shenanigans in that match so nobody wins. Like Bloodline comes out and just beats everybody down.
I could see that.
No contest.
Okay, it says Logan to challenge Cody for undisputed WWE Championship. Doesn't say anything about US on here. At least everything I'm seeing, it doesn't say US titles on the line. Because again, I don't know why you would want to take that title off of Logan. It's working. I mean, it's doing everything it needs to. Logan Paul is over. Give him a match against Cody. I think it'd be great. But you don't have to do a title for title. I think that's dumb.
No, I think they could just face each other in a non-title matchup, which is honestly what it should be.
We just had this unification. Well, like we've just had someone hold both world titles for 2 years. We don't need all that.
Yeah. Also, the last time we had a main card title holder who also held the mid card belt.
Didn't they vacate it?
No, that's when stupid ass Theory cashed in for the US belt.
Oh shit.
If I'm not mistaken, that's when Austin Theory cashed in for the US belt, and that yo, he should honestly be glad that he's still a character in WWE because
What a fucking idiot.
there's only so much that that level of silliness that the greater public will allow.
Bro, if R-Truth won the Money in the Bank, he would have cashed in on the 24/7 championship. You have to realize that.
Let's not talk about 24/7. Stupid ass name.
Best belt design in the game.
Something.
We don't need a US. We don't need
Neither one of them needs to hold both belts, so there has to be something that happens so nobody walks out the winner.
We don't need this belt
Unless
collector
only
crap.
Cody's belt's on the line, which point I'm okay, cool, fine. Logan Paul loses at an international pay-per-view again for a belt. Seen it before.
We just don't need this belt collector crap anymore. We've seen someone hold 3 world championships. Technically, 3. He was bringing down 3 to the Roman was bringing down 3 to the ring at one point.
Yes, the new belt and the 2 old belts.
Don't need all that. We don't need this. Just keep it as is. Let Cody win, or shenanigans from the bloodline. Have Solo get his match or whatever. Also, the man's hair is getting too damn long. I know that is very nitpicky. But what his hair used to look like, fuck, hold on. I gotta pull up a picture of this. This guy's hair is fucking crazy now. See, like, trying to find it. Hold up. Like this hair right here. That's fine. Like that. You guys aren't gonna fucking see that, but his hair like that is fine. The hair we've been seeing on TV, what the fuck? It is so damn long. Holy shit. Also, in other news, Wesley's back. That's another thing. Love that man. Just something I wanted to make sure. He got back from his back injury. It was a very special moment. He won with his goddamn beautiful ass corkscrew, whatever the fuck you call it. He calls it something cool too. Here, hold up. Let me find this Solo Sikoa crap while I'm on it. So I need to find this bullshit. His hair's just looking weird as fuck. Here we are. That.
I like it.
I hate this. What the hell is that? It's a mohawk.
It's a Samoan mohawk.
Bro's trying to act like Humaga. Humaga wouldn't have a Samoan mohawk.
No, he's trying to act like Solo.
Finally.
With his Hitman fucking driver gloves on.
These hands.
He also, can we just say that Solo needs to stop taking bumps on, like, the ring apron? It looks bad every time. He jumped out the ring too early at 40. I feel like for how he fell, Angelo should have, like, shoulder checked him in the stomach rather than fall out. But that's just a me thing. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Last but not least, we get Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship. The setup for it on Raw was cool. Sammy's promo kind of sucked, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Not the type of... I'll tell you what. It would have been better if he didn't come out to attack Gable. Because the whole babyface, I don't know what I got this. I got Challenger A and Challenger B. That promo doesn't work when the babyface did something heelish.
I think you're at that point. Also, Bronson's not going to win. We know that. Bronson is irrelevant. Well, he's not irrelevant in this match. He's the one holding he's the one who's standing on top every week to this point. But I think Sammy's going to take it he's going to take another round. I don't know if Chad's going to win it.
Not Chad is currently constructed, though. He also in the background yelling at Alpha Academy during the CM Punk long shot. So just move me closer to that vehicle of Chad Gable with the Creed brothers.
Creeds aren't even on TV right now, right?
Yeah, they're not.
So keep them off to set them up to be Gable's running buddies.
Hopefully. Have them come out, just annihilate. Have all the Creeds plus Ivy Nile all come out and wreck Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxine.
That's literally Alpha Academy still.
Six-pack mixed tag match for the right of Chad Gable services. I'd watch that. I'd watch that.
Also, they can still brand themselves as Alpha Academy. We were trying to think of names last week, I feel like.
Oh, you just take the Alpha Academy name.
Just take it, yeah.
In character, Chad Gable could say that Alpha Academy is the name is supposed to represent being in the top physical shape, being in the top ring work shape. And Otis, you've never been in the physical shape. Akira, and Maxine, you're dumb as a box of rocks, and you can't work in the ring. Please meet your new replacements.
Bro, another thing. Akira's only like 150 pounds.
Yeah, wet. 150 pounds, soaking wet.
He took a fucking humongous bump that I've seen recently where he got like clotheslined off the apron and just like fucking full. He like is such a good wrestler, but shit, that is just too damn much when you're hitting the floor like that. Yeah, if you want to watch people really hurt themselves, go watch AEW. If you want to watch people wrestle and have great matches and also great cinematography, stick with WWE.
Yeah, I mean, WWE truly is theater with wrestling. AEW is a bar fight with wrestling. And every once in a while, you get something classic.
Also, 4-hour pay-per-views. I don't need 4 hours of wrestling. 3's great.
3? When's the last time we had a 3-hour pay-per-view?
I don't... Okay, then let me rephrase this. I don't... What was it? When we went to AEW.
Yeah, we went to Dynasty.
We went to Dynasty, by the way. It was a pre-show that was an hour plus another 4 hours of wrestling.
4 hours, 8 matches across 4 hours. So altogether, counting the pre-show, it was 5 hours and 10 matches.
I'm complaining about that pay-per-view, yet we probably saw one of the greatest matches of all time.
It's up there.
It is definitely up there. But the build-up to that match, that also wasn't... That was the third to last match? The best match ever? Third to last match?
Yes, because FTR versus the Young Bucks was the co-main.
Which also was not a bad match. I do want to point that out. But also, these motherfuckers, Dash and Dawson, I'm going to call them that. Sorry. So our WWE marks know them as. Those motherfuckers always said they don't do flips. What do we see them doing? Blipping.
Hey, man. You got to go in the tool bag to follow Ospreay versus Danielson. You got to. And the fact that they still put on a solid banger following that match, everybody involved deserves props.
And Bryan Danielson is just going to start falling apart soon.
He's already falling apart. He's been falling apart. The dude did, what was it, 3 to 6 months back where he was in wrestling with a fucked up eye. Like, actually badly swollen fucked up eye.
And his wife is begging him not to wrestle, and he's like, I have to.
Yeah, so.
I don't have any time left.
Overarching, I think it was a good, untraditional week of consistent wrestling action.
I like the way they're displaying King and Queen of the Ring. I like that a lot.
Presentation was good. The people in their pre-match promos across both shows were communicating how, actually, for the past 2, almost 3 weeks of wrestling, whenever someone is talking about the King or Queen of the Ring tournament, they're giving it substance, recognition. It feels important, and it feels like whoever wins the final, whoever is the King and Queen of the Ring of the tournament, they can segue straight into a title shot. The tournament's been set up that appropriately, in my opinion. A couple missteps. The matches being moved to the live event felt really last minute.
Yes.
And I just don't like that feel to it. I like that they moved matches of significance to live events, because then that kind of gives WWE that can't miss feel.
Yes.
I hope one day in the future we can see not necessarily serious title changes that should be paid off at a PLE, but like inter-program title changes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Happening at live events. I think that'd be good for the brand. Another misstep. Where's Braun Breaker? And why is he not in this tournament?
Another misstep. Did we mention Damian Priest's name once?
No.
That's not necessarily a misstep. That's just how more interested we were with the rest of.
Yeah, I don't. The couple. Here's what's really working against Judgment Day right now. No Rhea and Dominic being physically unable to compete.
Right.
Because if he's physically unable to compete, he can't be out in the ring for the interference spots, and he cannot be out there just to get booed, which is why he's just been in a lot of backstage promo vignettes in the background, because you'll get law of diminishing returns if you just have him go out there to get booed.
Right.
I kind of want to hit the fast forward button on the Damian and Finn match. That's inevitable.
Okay, so is Damian going to be face?
It's more likely in that scenario that Damian would be face and Finn would be heel.
Okay.
Because either Pinhead Larry gets exiled for Judgment Day, or Finn gets exiled from Judgment Day, the other is going to go with them. And yeah, I don't really care about Judgment Day right now.
There's no fucking way that one would leave without the other.
Yeah, no, there's no shot.
Okay.
There's no shot.
Braun is also, I'm very surprised by that, because I like how they were portraying as Carmelo Hayes is like in the first round of SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo did beat Braun, so I kind of sort of understand why you'd want to push him more than Braun. But if you want a world champion, I would, for physical ability, and I would honestly say promo work too, Braun's the guy I would pick in that situation. Luckily, they're on 2 different shows. So if you ever want to go the route of, let's try to have Carmelo beat Cody at one point, then you go the other route of Braun's going to be over as fuck and we're going to have him hold that title. You can do it like that. But, like, in your opinion, you want a world champion. They're both on one show. Who would you put?
Santos Escobar.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it a different way. Santos Escobar has done nothing to justify being in this tournament.
Correct. Is Carlito also just gone? Did anything happen with Carlito?
Yeah, so on Raw, Dom brought Carlito backstage to Damian Finn and Pinhead Larry. Like, hey, Carlito wants to help us out. And Damian's like, no, dude, literally a year ago to the day, you screwed me in my Bad Bunny match. Get out of here.
Classic.
Which, again, like we talked about earlier, wrestlers remembering history. You can't, in my opinion, as it pertains to Braun, you can't have Baron Corbin lose his first match back on the main card and Braun not involved with this tournament, because it feels like you just plucked the Wolf Dogs from NXT
for nothing,
with no direction. Not for nothing, because they kind of hit the ceiling, so not for nothing.
Imagine if they were tag team champions on any of one of their shows too.
But that it gave a very directionless feel. In some respects, kind of like how Damage Control is kind of directionless.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that.
But all in all, those are my only 2 missteps. Braun Breaker's got to be in this tournament. And the handling of moving the matches to the live event could have been better, in my opinion. Any final thoughts for you?
I agree with the Braun Breaker thing. I don't know. That would... Jeez. Like, that side of the bracket on the Raw side for the men's side, fucking insane. And then on the SmackDown side, it's not as good. On the SmackDown side, it's fucking insane for the women's. And on the Raw side, it's not that good.
Yeah, but I would say that the Raw women's side of the bracket is worse significantly than the SmackDown men's side of the bracket.
I do agree.
Like, SmackDown has, of the who should be the Final Four for SmackDown, they're all over in some capacity.
They have a lot more storytelling on SmackDown, and on Raw, they have the wrestling, hard-hitting type work.
Out of the Final Four on SmackDown, they all deserve to be in the King of the Ring final, like, assuming LA goes over Santos.
Yes.
And even though it'd be like super, a lot really fast for Tama, but I think we can both sit here and say nobody from the Final Four of SmackDown should beat anybody from the Final Four of Raw in the final, except for like Randy beating Jay.
Yeah, I agree with that. But there's no way, like, I don't think there's any way Gunther loses unless Ilya's the only person who could beat him.
That's why he's going to lose.
Yeah.
That is dead ass why he's going to lose. Because that is the first, that can be the first layer of their main card program. Like, I believe Gunther will be a world champ at least one time before 41, and will be a world champ before Ilya is. But they're gonna, this is what lays the groundwork. Because if you have Ilya go over Gunther in 2 weeks for the Raw final, which should be like a 20-minute main event at least, then regardless of whether Ilya actually wins the whole thing or not, you can do Gunther Ilya at Clash at the Castle just on a straight up one-on-one, I'm better than you. That works.
Now that will feed families.
That works.
It already has. It's going to feed more on the main roster. God, I wish Randy knew how good Ilya Dragunov was. In another world, maybe. That's all I got, though.
Well, that's all I got. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Listen to us to break down wrestling from this past week. And be sure to catch the episode when it drops on Monday. I've been Clayton. That's Eddie. This is Too Heavy.